Coming up, Oklahoma authorities discover a burned body at the scene of a fire. And the Miami police are on the hunt for a suspect in a weekend shooting. Also, one local business loads up its food truck to deliver help to a tornado-damaged town in Kentucky.
Watch News starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
A warm one for back-to-back days, Tuesday and Wednesdays, where we're going to concentrate on the old weather almanac, see if we can break any records. Any rain that we do see won't be until late tonight, and it will be scattered at best. Current conditions as we sit over 7th and Rangeline, already an extremely comfortable 57 degrees. South wind been consistent, still coming in at 13 miles per hour. You'll notice we don't even have a 30 on the board right now. The lowest we go, as a matter of fact, appears to be 46 in Iowa. We got a 48 in Nevada. Everybody else already cruising into the high 50s. Pair of 57s there in Miami and in Neosho as well. Here is the wind, and it's resulted in additional not only high wind advisories and watches, but even some high wind warnings there in the darker 10 hours lasting until 9 o'clock tonight. That's quite an addition of counties that we had since yesterday. A look at the contiguous 48. Jet stream still with the big ridge, now pushing out to our east, but that means warm temperatures for today and tomorrow as well, as we're going to be around, say 70 degrees later on today. Let's talk a little bit about the clouds and the scattered rain. Clouds are already upon us, trapped in all that heat, but even with that being said, we're still able to make it up into the high 60s, low 70s. Now you notice the scattered rain, it doesn't appear until later this afternoon into the evening hours and even into Wednesday. Not everybody is going to end up seeing precipitation. That changes here Wednesday night. That's that line of thunderstorms that develops out to the northwest. So about 7, 8 o'clock is when we see it upon our counties. This thing's going to move northwest down to the southeast, bring us some heavy rain along with some thunder and some lightning. Should be able to avoid any high winds though. And then we get a little bit cooler on Thursday, but Tanya, still that secondary cold front's the one we're looking at for Friday into Saturday, because Friday, even up at 60 degrees, average high this time of year, we should be sitting about 49. So, Thursday and Friday still substantially warmer than what we'd expect mid-December.
Yeah, 70 degrees. You can't beat that today.
No, this is going to be great.
All right. Thank you, Michael. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, or the OSBI, is investigating a burned body found at the scene of a fire. Fire happened in Delaware County on December 9th. Firefighters from Jay responded to the call about a brush fire near South 609 Road around 11 p.m. Firefighters found the body of a man and immediately called the sheriff, who brought in the OSBI. Yesterday, officials announced they've identified the body, but they are not yet releasing his name. Police in Miami, Oklahoma are looking for a suspect in a weekend shooting who they say fled on a bicycle. That suspect is Daniel Jasicek. Police responded to a call at a home on H Southeast Street on a little after 1 on Sunday afternoon, where they found Kenneth Crane with a gunshot wound to the leg. A crew took Crane to a Joplin hospital. Investigators say the suspect got away on a red and pink BMX-style bike, and at last report, he was still at large. For some, seeing the devastation in Kentucky is all too similar to what Joplin saw 10 years ago. That's why one local business is stepping up to lend a hand to our neighbors to the east. Bacon Me Crazy, which operates a physical restaurant and a food truck, will take that truck to Mayfield, Kentucky today. The owner, Jeff Carney, says after all the help Joplin received in 2011 with free meals to those in need, he felt it was only right to pay it forward.
I think that Joplin should remember exactly what we went through for months and months here. I mean, people were driving around our neighborhoods passing out meals and stuff, and it helped out because we were sitting there with no electricity, we had no way to eat, and then next thing you know, they were rolling up down the road giving us food. So I think Joplin, if any place, we need to step up and pay it back.
There's also a GoFundMe to help raise money to cover expenses for the trip so they can sponsor a couple of families in Mayfield. There's a link to the GoFundMe on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Monday, Missouri Southern's Japan semester continued with an art exhibit called The Impossible Journey. It's about a long-planned trip for students in the International Arts Seminar class. The trip was supposed to take students to Japan, but it was canceled twice after national borders closed because of the pandemic. As an alternative, the class took a trip to San Francisco's Japantown and Los Angeles's Little Tokyo to explore Japanese art and culture.
If I ever were to have the opportunity to go to Japan, I would be all the more ecstatic because I would have some background behind it and I would be able to really immerse myself. If there was ever an opportunity like this again, I'm sure any of us would be so glad to do it.
The exhibit will be available for viewing in the Spiva Gallery at MSSU until January 12th. Watered Garden says its annual toy shop offers hope and dignity for parents during the Christmas season. The toy shop gives parents a chance to work for their child's gifts. Watered Gardens has a number of items for gifts, but rather than a price, items are given a timestamp for the amount of time the parent would work in the Worth shop to earn the gifts.
Maybe they have a home, maybe they live in an apartment, but they just struggle to put food on the table, or like in this Christmas season, put presents under the tree. You know, there's opportunity here where you don't have to bring money, you bring cash, you kind of bring yourself, able to exchange some time to get what you need, and maybe you can use, you know, what you have to pay the electric bill or to pay for something else.
The toy shop is open through December 17th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Our annual Toy Box campaign is underway, and each year we ask for donations of toys and money to buy toys to give to area kids in need. All of your donations can stay in the county you live in. You can find a list of toy drop-off locations on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com, or you can donate by phone during our Toy Box Tuesday telethon. The next one will be today on our noon, 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. newscasts. Well, once you've given money or toys, we have to find a way to get them to kids. And that's where our distribution partners come in. In northeastern Oklahoma, we get a little help from Toys for Tots. They identify the families in their region who could really use the help. Families like the Rivas. Chantel Rivas told us about how your donations help make Christmas a little brighter for her kids.
I think last year the littles opened their gifts before they woke mom and dad up. That they were super excited, and it made it all that much better.
The Rivas family is just one family touched by your generosity through KOAM's Toy Box campaign, and you'll hear about another such family during today's telethon. It's 5:07.
A warm start outside. We've already got some pre-sunrise temperatures that would eclipse our normal daily highs for this time of year. A whole bunch of 57s. Rain from Joplin down south of I-44 and able to do so, excuse me, even with some early morning cloud cover. If we get to 71 degrees, that will set the December 14th record. Dates back to 2008, and we've got a very good chance not only for today but also for tomorrow.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Missouri Southern women's basketball team has won 5 straight games, including their first 3 MIAA conference games. Can they keep up their red-hot streak against McKendree? We find out. Plus, we'll meet a Chandler, Arizona man who finds a box of mysterious photographs on the side of the freeway. We want to know what you would do if you found the same thing. And today marks the 1-year anniversary since the first person received the COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
5-star movie.
Missouri Southern women's basketball team, one of the hottest in the MIAA right now, as Southern has won 5 in a row, including the first 3 MIAA conference games. Last night, trying to stay rolling at home. It's a non-conference affair against McKendree. Early on, Cameron Call clocks it from 3. She goes 3 of 4 from deep. She had 13 points last night. In the second quarter, Caitlin Honeycutt, pull-up 3. She had 11. Lions rolling in the first half, and it stayed that way. Amaya Johns, all by her lonesome. She had 10 points, 4 rebounds. Now the pass out to Mia Topping. Lions just keep launching threes. Up 76-33 going into the fourth. And in that fourth quarter, Malia Landers opened in the corner. 9 players score 6 or more points, led by Maddie Stokes and her 19. Lions cruise by McKendree, 92-55.
Sometimes when you play in a team and you get a big lead, you have a tendency to let down on the defense and then try to force things offensively. But I thought our kids did a great job on both ends of the floor for 40 minutes, offensively sharing the basketball, not trying to force things, and then defensively really try to take them out of some things. And I thought for the majority of the game, we did a very good job of that.
Lady Mustang Classic underway at McDonald County High School. Yesterday, you had 3 games on the slate. Begin with Webb City taking on Bentonville West as the winner of this one moves on to play in the tournament semifinals. Lainey Tapp, she's going to play softball at Crowder. She plays a little basketball too. Top of the key for the 3. Then nice pull up. 7 points for Tapp in the first quarter. Cardinals, though, down 4. In the second, Ivory Ona Johnson going to work for Bentonville West. Not only the block, just finish it the other way and get the foul. Webb City held without a field goal in the second quarter. Early third, back to Lainey Tapp. 3 ball from the far side, game high 15. Webb City tries to stay in it with Kate Brownfield. Card's first 3 and first field goal since the first quarter. And then Sam Mancini bucketed the foul, but Bentonville West kept this thing a-rolling and won it 50-22. After that, tournament hosts Mustangs playing their first game of the Classic. Mack County up against Fort Smith Southside. Southside wins at 58-37. Samara Smith scores a team-high 11 for McDonald County. In the final game of the Mustang Classic last night, CJ on the floor against Alma, Arkansas, and Carl Junction wins at 69-49. Destiny Berge, game-high 31 points for the Bulldogs. Chloe Burke added 16. Chiefs hit the field against the Raiders on Sunday, and it just absolutely dominated this thing from start to finish. Almost called them Oakland. Beat Las Vegas 48-9. Biggest win in the history of the rivalry. And here's how it all started. First play of the game for the Raiders. Fumbled and scoop a score. And that's how the rest of the day went. Kansas City forced 5 turnovers on their way to a season-high 48 points. Offensively, Chiefs had 370 total yards. Wide receiver Josh Gordon, yes, that Josh Gordon, caught his first touchdown since joining the team in September.
When guys put in work like he has over these last few weeks, and obviously he hasn't had the targets and catches that we've wanted him to have just because of the flow of the game and how we've played, for him to get that touchdown, we've worked on that play for a couple weeks now, and we were set up in the perfect area, and he hit it, and it worked perfectly. So for him to make a big play for us in the game, it's just going to continue to help him get that confidence that we can go out there and he can utilize him and his talents to help the offense.
I believe that was Josh Gordon's first touchdown since 2019. Crowder College head baseball coach Travis Lolleman. He is now the Coach of the Year. That's from the Midwest Scouts Association. It's an association that presented Lolleman with the award this past weekend at Kauffman Stadium. Lolleman led the Crowder College program since 2005. This past season, team went 55-8, won a district title, made a trip to the Junior College World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado. Now, in his career, Lolleman has 653 wins, 6 regional championships, and 3 trips to the College World Series. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the UK Health Secretary warns Omicron will become the dominant variant in London. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Just a touch past 5:17 on this Tuesday morning, and our daily almanac for December 14th with a magic number of 71 that dates back to 2008. When we get to 71, we will match a record high for today. We got a real good chance. 72, of course, will set a new one out in Carthage. This is at Joplin Regional Airport. Out in Carthage, going to have to get to 73 to tie a record that dates back, I believe 1943 is the magic number in Carthage. We're already sitting at 57 degrees. That's way above our average high, even for this time of year, and we're going to have to fight the wind once again. But what that has done, combined with the cloud cover that trapped in yesterday's heat, well, the lowest we see right now is 46 in Iola. We got a whole bunch of already high 50s ranging through southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma, including Neosho and Anderson. Let's roll 55 right now in Parsons, 52 in the aforementioned Chanute. We're going to roll it in from the south, double digits once again. We'll go 10 to 15 miles per hour. And we've had expansion when it comes to our wind warnings and watches. So to give you an idea of the different colors right here, we've got the wind advisories in the lighter tan. Then we've got the high wind watches in the this off mustard color, and then this darker color. Those are actually the high wind warnings. Those are the most important ones that last all the way until 9 o'clock tonight. Now, as far as the Skywatch storm tracker goes, no precipitation to speak of for the time being. Got a chance for some light scattered rain here, but not until we get into the evening hours. Jet stream in the ridge continues to push off to the east. Remember, you get below the hump right there, and that's where you're going to find a whole bunch of warmth. So we'll be up around that magical 71-degree number, and then overnight, there's where we get a chance for a little scattered precipitation, but really we're not going to have a whole lot of action until we get in to Wednesday night. Just kind of filters in with the Gulf moisture, and not widespread. Not everybody's going to get it, especially if you live out to the west and up to the north. Then eventually on Wednesday night, we get that fine line of thunderstorm activity that works in from the northwest. Drops down there to the southeast. Not only some heavy rain and lightning, but we've got the possibility for some high winds to go along with that as well. 7-day forecast with cooler temperatures on Thursday after the thunderstorms roll through, but a nice little rebound for Friday. Then a secondary cold front for Friday into Saturday. Turn our attention now to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. Gentleman by the name of Brandon Deathridge. Well, he almost didn't stop when he saw the box on the shoulder of the freeway in Chandler, Arizona. He's just thankful he did, though, because now Deathridge is hoping someone will know whose items these belong to, and he can get them back to the right person.
San Diego.
Brandon Deathridge is trying to put the pieces together.
This one's 1960.
As he looks through pictures, frames, and postcards.
That's from New Jersey.
These items were sitting in a box on the side of the 202 freeway heading west near Ahwatukee.
I just kind of ignored it and went ahead and went on to the job. The whole time I was at the job, it just kind of ate at me what was it? What was in those really nice boxes?
On the way home, he felt the urge to pull over.
I picked up the ones I could.
Inside the box, images of a family.
Mr. Zimmerman.
A man in the Navy in the 1940s.
Class of 44.
Baby pictures.
That's pretty noticeable, that shirt.
And so much more.
I told my wife that we just got to find out who this is, because there's really no information.
Brandon's father was in the Navy. He instantly felt a connection and knew the worth of these items.
These old, really old school photos, you just can't replace them.
Learning more as he and his wife look through them.
Altman, that's the name.
They're trying to find who these items may belong to.
That's a pretty recognizable frame too. It almost looks homemade. This photo album, I think it would stand out to somebody. Just hoping that one person might know somebody and might know somebody, 6 degrees of separation, and maybe we can get it back to the right person.
Find the rightful owners. Our question to you this morning: what would you do if you found someone's photos? 2 ways to connect with us each and every morning. One via Facebook, or go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with Healthwatch next.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, today marks 1 year since the first person received the COVID-19 vaccine in the United States. Elise Preston sits down with Sandra Lindsay, the nurse who received that first shot, and has now made it her mission to encourage others to get vaccinated to protect themselves and their community.
Dr. Sandra Lindsay made history here 1 year ago, becoming the first American to receive the COVID-19 vaccine.
I've just been so grateful for that day and everything that has happened after that day. Hi, guys.
The director of nursing critical care at Northwell's Long Island Jewish Medical Center says the dark days of caring for the sickest patients were on her mind.
What did it feel like that day?
The light got brighter in the tunnel. I felt like a huge boulder just rolled off my shoulders.
Lindsay is an activist for vaccination, and we've seen her every step of the way leading by example, receiving her second dose, serving as Grand Marshal of the Hometown Heroes Parade, being presented with this honor at the White House, rolling up her sleeve for her booster shot, and holding the hand of this 9-year-old girl receiving her first vaccine last month.
Incredible honor and privilege to be able to have this platform to share my experiences and to just inspire.
She's our diplomat. She saved many, many people's lives by getting early adoption of the vaccine among our employees. She's a great communicator, and we need more and more people like that. particularly in underserved areas.
Lindsay immigrated to the U.S. from Jamaica when she was 18.
Particularly for communities of color, there's a lot of mistrust between our community and the medical community. So I think it's very, very important for them to see that I trust science.
With the new variant causing concern, the country bracing for another winter surge, and millions of Americans still unvaccinated.
We have to continue to get ahead of the misinformation, continue to make it easier for people to get vaccinated.
Lindsay hopes everyone gets the message and gets protected. Elise Preston, CBS News, Queens, New York.
Lindsay recently received her Doctor of Health Sciences degree with a concentration in global health, organizational behavior, and leadership. Californians will need to keep masks within reach for the next month or so. The Golden State is requiring universal masking for people in indoor public settings. This goes into effect Wednesday, December 15th, and lasts until January 15th. Due in part to the Omicron variant, California has seen a 47% rise in COVID-19 cases since Thanksgiving. And that's according to the state's Health and Human Services Agency. Officials say the new masking policy covers about half of Californians who live in areas without a mandate. Those who attend major events with more than 40,000 people will have to produce a negative COVID test if they don't have a vaccination card. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Good morning, I'm Tanya Bach with your KOAM News Update. For some, seeing the devastation in Kentucky is all too similar to what Joplin saw 10 years ago. That's why one local business is stepping up to lend a hand to our neighbors to the east. Bacon Me Crazy, which operates a physical restaurant and a food truck, will take that truck to Mayfield, Kentucky today. The owner, Jeff Carney, says after all the help Joplin received in 2011 with free meals to those in need, he felt it was only right to pay it forward. On Monday, Missouri Southern's Japan semester continued with an art exhibit called The Impossible Journey. It's about a long-planned trip for students in the International Art Seminar class. The trip was supposed to take students to Japan, but it was canceled twice after national borders closed because of the pandemic. As an alternative, the class took a trip to San Francisco's Japantown and Los Angeles's Little Tokyo to explore Japanese art and culture.
High 60s, low 70s on this Tuesday as we will challenge some record high temperatures this afternoon, 71 being our magic number at Joplin Regional Airport. As far as the evening goes, we'll get some light scattered rain. It won't amount to much. Really don't have any thunderstorm activity to worry about until we get to Wednesday night into early Thursday morning.
Coming up, Oklahoma authorities discover a burned body at the scene of a fire. In Miami, police are on the hunt for a suspect in a weekend shooting. Also, one local business loads up its food truck to deliver help to a tornado-damaged town in Kentucky.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
Magic numbers, Tanya, are 71 at Joplin Regional Airport, 73 at Martin Johnson Airport in Chanute. If we can get to 71 or 73 in each of those locations, we will tie records for December 14th high temperatures, and we're already at 57 degrees over 7th and Rangeline. Another windy one as it works in from the south, and we're anywhere from 46 to 58. That's in Neosho and in Welch, already approaching the 60-degree mark pre-sunrise. There's our wind, and because it's still going to come in at 10 to 15 miles per hour, gust up to 25 to 30 miles per hour, we are stuck with wind advisories, watches, and warnings. The warning being the darkest of the brown right there, lasting until 9 o'clock tonight. Not a whole lot of action over the Midwest, which is good news for everybody on the swath of tornadoes that has now encompassed 9 states. However, by the time we get to Thursday, they're going to be inundated with additional rainfall as well. But for Tuesday and Wednesday, we concentrate on a little 4-state heat because even with our cloud cover, low 70s anticipated today and tomorrow. Now, as far as our rain goes, very light and scattered, mostly for the south and the eastern portion. And for the afternoon and evening, lasting up until Wednesday. Work out to the west and the north, stays pretty dry. That changes here Wednesday night. Good line of thunderstorms develops to our northwest as it sweeps through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We got some heavy rain. We got a little lightning and thunder in there as well. And also, can't discount some high winds. Now, temperatures do cool off after that front rolls through, but Thursday, that's still quite a bit above normal. Friday, even with that scattered rain, still looking at 60. Really don't have a taste of November or December that comes back and gets us until we get to Saturday.
Yeah. Winter can wait on my, doesn't need to get here on my account.
Maybe something we can break back-to-back records. Got to remember, it was just 11 days ago that we broke a record on December the 3rd.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice.
Unreal.
Let's do it again today. No. All right, thanks, Michael. The OSBI is investigating a burned body found at the scene of a fire. The fire happened in Delaware County on December 9th. Firefighters from Jay responded to a call about a brush fire near South 609 Road around 11 p.m. Firefighters found the body of a man and immediately called the sheriff, who brought in the OSBI. Yesterday, officials announced they've identified the body, but they are not yet releasing his name. Police in Miami, Oklahoma are looking for a suspect in a weekend shooting who they say fled on a bicycle. That suspect is Daniel Jasicek. Police responded to a call at a home on H Southeast Street a little after 1 on Sunday afternoon, where they found Kenneth Crane with a gunshot wound to a leg. A crew took Crane to a Joplin hospital. Investigators say the suspect got away on a red and pink BMX-style bike, and at last report, he was still at large. The tornado devastation in Mayfield, Kentucky is all too familiar for most Joplin residents. That's why one business is stepping up to help.
Looking at the devastation in Mayfield, Kentucky is hitting close to home for those in Joplin. That's why Jeff Carney, the owner of Bacon Me Crazy, decided to load up and hit the road for Mayfield.
We've got enough stock at the moment. I mean, I think we should be able to feed a couple thousand people, serve them lunch and dinner, and for all 3 days we're out there, and help them out. We've got some Indigo Sky gave us some gift cards. Some other people have dropped off some gift cards so that we can pass those out to the people, and they can go to Walmart or wherever and get the essentials they need until they get on their feet and get insurance money and stuff. And that's going to help out a lot.
They put out a call on social media for people to bring in donations that they can take with them, and the community has responded.
People's dropped off toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorants. We had one little girl, I wish I was here. Her mom and dad bought her a brand new pair of Converse, and instead of keeping them, she brought them here to give for us to take up there and give them away.
Additionally, there's a GoFundMe page collecting money as well.
The GoFundMe page is to help us with the cost of going up there, with employees and fuel, propane and stuff like that, but also when we get there so we can sponsor a couple families.
Carney was in Joplin during the tornado and says this community, which received so much love and support from the world, should step up for our neighbors to the east.
I think that Joplin should remember exactly what we went through for months and months here. I mean, people were driving around our neighborhoods passing out meals and stuff, and it helped out because we were sitting there with no electricity, we had no way to eat, and then next thing you know, they were rolling up down the road giving us food. So I think Joplin, if any place, we need to step up and pay it back.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Now, Carney says the GoFundMe will be active during their 3 days in Mayfield, and we have a link to this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, T-Mobile made a big donation to a couple of area towns. Over the weekend, the company donated a $50,000 hometown grant to Yates Center, Kansas. On Monday, they made that same donation to Pineville, Missouri. Yates Center plans to use the money to renovate a community center to use as a business incubator. Pineville will use their funding to make an entrepreneurial program for high school students.
And we're partnering with local businesses. So it's a wonderful blend of different organizations coming together to create an opportunity for the McDonald County youth.
T-Mobile says it plans to provide $25 million for community development projects in rural areas over the next 5 years. Well, some kids want a new bicycle for Christmas. No problem. Some Pitt State students are making sure that happens. Enactus, a student organization in the Kels College of Business, raised enough money to buy 42 bikes for kids ranging in age from 3 to 18.
Reaching out to the community and helping makes them feel more involved and more connected to the community and to the school. So, and I know that's not what happens a lot with some of the other organizations that are around campus, but this is one especially that's really connected to the community and willing to help.
Enactus worked with Pittsburgh area young professionals, which matched their donation. The bikes will be delivered on December 18th. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, wait till you see what one Utah woman did to her husband's moles when she sent him to the dermatologist. Plus, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson takes continued heat for 2020 Downing Street Christmas celebrations. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
Pre-sunrise temperatures already eclipsing what we'd anticipate for a high on the December 14th. Just absolutely wonderful outside, even though we've got some pretty strong south winds and high wind warnings for southeast Kansas. Now, as we get to the 7-day forecast, we're going to challenge records on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thunderstorm activity Wednesday night into Thursday morning, but still temperatures in the 50s and 60s to close out the work week.
Here at
Topping WorldWatch, Omicron will become the dominant coronavirus variant in London in the next 48 hours. That's according to British Health Secretary Sajid David. Omicron represents over 20% of cases in England, while in London it has risen to 44%. Health Secretary said 10 people have been admitted to hospitals with the new variant, and more hospitalizations and deaths are expected in the next 2 weeks. Well, Christmas is less than 2 weeks away, and for some people, the holiday celebrations are already happening. But there may not be much of a party atmosphere at 10 Downing Street as the UK government continues to face fallout from how it spent last Christmas. Nada Bashir has the latest.
Well, after a turbulent week for the British government, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson now finds himself at the centre of the Downing Street Christmas party scandal. This image released and published by the Sunday Mirror showing the Prime Minister taking part in a Christmas party quiz at Downing Street in December of last year, despite COVID regulations prohibiting social gatherings. Now, this comes just days after video surfaced of the Prime Minister's former spokesperson, Allegra Stratton, during a mock press conference suggesting that a Christmas party was held at Downing Street despite these COVID regulations and seemingly making light of the restrictions. As image of Prime Minister Boris Johnson taking part in this Christmas party quiz shows him sat with two other individuals in Downing Street, and according to reporting from the Sunday Mirror, others present in Downing Street were gathered in groups around their desks, although CNN hasn't been able to independently verify these claims. A statement from the Downing Street spokesperson has said that although Boris Johnson did take part in this quiz briefly, it was a virtual quiz. Now, those participating from Downing Street were already working in their offices, part of the COVID response effort, and may have decided to take part in this quiz from their desks. This is going to cause major frustration and anger for the many who are adhering strictly to those COVID regulations over the Christmas period last year, so many unable to gather and meet with loved ones over Christmas. And this is going to have a major knock-on effect on public confidence in the Prime Minister and his government. Recent polling already showing that 54% of adults across Britain think the Prime Minister should resign. And as the government attempts to bring into force those tougher regulations to stem the spread of the Omicron variant, including mandatory mask wearing in shops, public transport, cinemas and such, as well as encouraging everyone to work from home, there is a real concern that members of the public won't be convinced by these government regulations, given that members of Boris Johnson's own government and his staff members at Downing Street weren't adhering to these regulations last year. But according to the Prime Minister, his Cabinet Secretary has been charged with leading an investigation into these allegations. And although the Metropolitan Police itself says there isn't case for a police investigation, there are calls for the government to be held to account.
At least 7 people have been found dead after several buildings collapsed in the southern Italian town of Raven, USA. The rescue operation team has been working nonstop for the last 30 hours. 2 people were rescued Sunday and 2 remain missing. That's according to the fire service. Officials say the buildings were destroyed in an explosion triggered by a large gas leak. An investigation into the cause of the explosion is now open. Let's look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it back to Michael for our something to talk about.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, interesting story out of Arizona. Brandon Deathridge is the gentleman's name right there. He almost did not stop when he saw a box on the shoulder of a freeway. He's thankful he did, because inside that box were those photographs right there. One of a man in a Navy uniform dating to the 40s, another photograph from the 1960s. There's baby pictures, even a name. Last name Altman, A-L-T-M-A-N. Brandon's still trying to figure out who the box belongs to, though. Our question for you, what would you do if you found someone's photos? Right now, 91% of you say return them. 9% say, leave them be. You never know. If they fell out of the car, maybe somebody's going to come back and grab them. Hopefully, Brandon can get those photos back to the family in question right there. You can take part each and every morning. 2 ways to do it. Connect to us via our Facebook page, or if you'd like to go directly to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. T-Mobile made a big donation to a couple of area towns. Over the weekend, the company donated a $50,000 hometown grant to Yates Center, Kansas. On Monday, they made that same donation to Pineville, Missouri. Yates Center plans to use the money to renovate a community center to use as a business incubator. Pineville will use their funding to make an entrepreneurial program for high school students. Some Neosho, Missouri middle school students are taking action to keep their school clean. Students created the Recycle Rangers program 3 years ago. The program used a grant to purchase recycling bins to put in classrooms and hallways. And then the Rangers go around the school, collect the bins, sort the recycling, and take it to a recycling center. 100 years ago, thousands of women marched on area coal mines in support of striking miners who faced hazardous working conditions, poor pay, and discrimination. That event was called the March of the Amazon Army. Yesterday, the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas, honored the marchers by welcoming in the descendants of those women to speak about their impact on history. Well, some kids want a new bicycle for Christmas. No problem. Some Pitt State students are making sure that happens. Enactus, a student organization in the Kels College of Business, raised enough money to buy 42 bikes for kids ranging in age from 3 to 18. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've already got a 60 up there, and we only sit at 10 minutes until the 6 o'clock hour. But Benita, the first one to hit the 60-degree mark. We've got a whole bunch of 59s in northeast Oklahomas and 58s in southwest Missouri. Now a little bit cooler in southeast Kansas. Cool, if you can say that. I mean, even if we look at Iola and Fort Scott at 47 and 48, that'd be about our average high, our expected high for this time of year. So an indicator that we're going to head up into the high 60s, low 70s later on this afternoon and be able to pull it off, even with the cloud cover sticking around. We do have wind warnings for southeast Kansas as it works in from the south once again. A little chance for some scattered rain here for afternoon and evening hours. It's not going to be widespread, certainly nothing severe. Takes us into Wednesday morning. Now, Wednesday night, that's when we pay attention to the northwest. Thunderstorm activity lines up, rolls through Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and a 7-day forecast where temperatures may be a little bit cooler on Thursday and Friday, but certainly not too bad for the middle of December. We'll be back right after this.
It's beginning to... Well, a light display that puts Clark Griswold's home to shame has landed a family in LaGrangeville, New York, a spot in the Guinness World Records. 686,081 lights. That's what makes up this magical display. Spirals, snowmen, animals, dozens of icicles clinging to branches, all choreographed to 250 songs spanning 8 miles of extension cords. All of this from the imagination of Tim and Grace Gay and their 3 children. It takes them 8 weeks to create this masterpiece. What started as 600 lights has grown to nearly 700,000. But it's not about just winning for this family. They team up with the Union Vale Fire Department every year to collect donations to support the firefighters and local charities. That's a lot of lights. Well, holy moly, wait till you see what a Utah woman did to her husband's moles before she sent him to the dermatologist. And it turned out to be the right move. Jeannie Moose reports the dermatologist seemed to appreciate her efforts.
Wielding a dry erase marker, Brinley Miles sent her husband to the dermatologist like this.
I really like your body. I really want to get naughty.
And this is how the dermatologist sent him back with "took to test" written next to suspicious moles, and "good" written next to ones that looked okay. For Brinley, circling Ryan's moles was a no-brainer.
We do take care of each other.
As one poster wrote, that's another man that's going to probably live longer because he's married. The Utah couple's only been married for about 6 months. But Brinley knew Ryan had a family history of skin cancer, and he thought getting circled was funny. The dermatologist laughed when she saw it.
I was kind of embarrassed at first, but then she was like, "I don't feel embarrassed or anything. It's okay. I've seen this happen before."
Other doctors chimed in. "I love this. True love is taking care of your partner." While someone else in dermatology noted, "It's never the wife with circles, though. LOL." The circles washed off.
We had checked after we got out of the shower to make sure that they had came up.
But the TikTok video circled the globe. Now the biopsy results are back.
The one on my chest, it does have cancerous cells, so I do need to get that one removed, but it's nothing urgent.
Others he's keeping an eye on. 4 eyes, actually. His and hers.
To the left, to the right.
Jeannie Mose, CNN, New York.
Sometimes you need that extra set of eyes. Michael joins us again with his forecast when we return.
About 2 minutes till the top of the hour. Technically still 5:57. 72 if we get to it at Joplin Regional Airport. Even if we get to 71, we'll tie the record. 72 will break the record dating back to 2008, and we're already at 60 degrees right now over Joplin. So let that update. We've also got another 60 there in Veneta. A little bit cooler up to the north, 47, 48, and Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada sits right now at 50. Another blustery one coming in from the south, but if you want to compare and contrast to where we were at this point in time yesterday, anywhere from about 10 to 15 degrees warmer than what we had on what was a really nice Monday. High wind warnings abound throughout southeast Kansas. Temperatures for today going to be close to, if not into the 70s. Even warmer tomorrow, then Wednesday night into Thursday, thunderstorm activity. Back right after this.
Prearrangement.
Coming up, Oklahoma authorities discover a burned body at the scene of a fire. And Miami police are on the hunt for a suspect in a weekend shooting. Also, one local business loads up its food truck to deliver help to a tornado-damaged town in Kentucky.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. But first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
It's a warm 6 a.m.
It is.
I'm telling you, we're throwing up some 60s already. There we are, over 7th and range line, 60 degrees. Another strong day of strong south winds. As far as our humidity, much, much better than what we had yesterday when we did have that elevated fire risk. Now we've got Joplin updated at 60. There we go. 58 right now in Pittsburgh, 53 in Chanute. Let's go 62. Our new clubhouse leader is Neosho. Here's an idea of the wind that we're going to have to put up for seemingly the umpteenth consecutive day. Coming in from the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25 to 30. So no surprise that we've got wind advisories in the light tan, high wind, watches in the lighter mustard kind of color, and then the dark tan. That's the high wind warning, the most important one that we see throughout southeast Kansas. Even if you're in southwest Missouri, northeast Oklahoma, still going to be rather blustery. Going to lift us up into the high 60s, if not low 70s later on today. Now we got a chance for a little afternoon scattered rain, mainly for the south and eastern portions. Work out to the west and the north. Going to be much drier. Takes us into Wednesday. I just have the umbrella with you. Now, it picks up in earnest. If you're going to be out Wednesday night, let's talk about this, because that's when the thunderstorms begin to formulate there, say about 7 o'clock in the far northwestern quadrant. And as it rolls through, that's going to be heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. Going to take us into early Thursday. Should be done by the Thursday morning commute. One thing we are going to have to pay attention to, though, is we do see the marginal category running through the 4 states. An indicator wind is going to be our main threat. It doesn't really, I mean, yeah, it cools us off, but still. That ain't too bad for the middle of December, a 56 on Thursday and a 60 on Friday. Now, Friday and Saturday, well, that's a little bit of a different tune right there because we'll drop down to the 40s and 50s over the weekend.
All right.
A little bit chilly there Saturday night into Sunday morning, 27.
We'll just hold off on that and think about how nice it'll be
Think about these daily highs.
Today.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, or the OSBI, is investigating a burned body found at the scene of a fire. The fire happened in Delaware County on December 9th. Firefighters from Jay responded to a call about a brush fire near South 609 Road around 11 p.m. Firefighters found the body of a man and immediately called the sheriff, who then brought in the OSBI. Yesterday, officials announced they have identified the body, but they're not yet releasing his name. Police in Miami, Oklahoma are looking for a suspect in a weekend shooting who they say fled on a bicycle. That suspect is Daniel Jasasek. Police responded to a call at a home on H Southeast Street a little after 1 on Sunday afternoon. That's where they found Kenneth Crane with a gunshot wound to his leg. The crew took Crane to a Joplin hospital. Investigators say the suspect got away on a red and pink BMX-style bike. And at last report, he was still at large. For some, seeing the devastation in Kentucky is all too similar to what Joplin saw 10 years ago. That's why one local business is stepping up to lend a hand to our neighbors to the east. Bacon Me Crazy, which operates a physical restaurant and a food truck, will take that truck to Mayfield, Kentucky today. The owner, Jeff Carney, says after all the help that Joplin received in 2011 with free meals to those in need, he felt it was only right to pay it forward.
I think that Joplin should remember exactly what we went through for months and months here. I mean, people were driving around our neighborhoods passing out meals and stuff, and it helped out because like we were sitting there with no electricity, we had no way to eat, and then next thing you know, they were rolling up down the road giving us food. So I think Joplin, if any place, we need to step up and pay it back.
There's also a GoFundMe to help raise money to cover expenses for the trip, and so they can sponsor a couple of families in Mayfield. Here's a link to the GoFundMe on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Monday, Missouri Southern's Japan semester continued with an art exhibit called The Impossible Journey. It's about a long-planned trip for students in the International Arts Seminar class. The trip was supposed to take students to Japan, but it was canceled twice after national borders closed because of the pandemic. As an alternative, the class took a trip to San Francisco's Japantown and Los Angeles's Little Tokyo to explore Japanese art and culture.
With this experience, if I ever were to have the opportunity to go to Japan, I would be all the more ecstatic because I would have some background behind it and I would be able to really immerse myself. If there was ever an opportunity like this again, I'm sure any of us would be so glad to do it.
The exhibit will be available for viewing in the Spiva Gallery at MSSU until January 12th. Watered Garden says its annual toy shop offers hope and dignity for parents during the Christmas season. The toy shop gives parents a chance to work for their child's gifts. Watered Gardens has a number of items for gifts, but rather than a price, items are given a timestamp for the amount of time the parent would work in the Worth shop to earn the gifts.
Maybe they have a home, maybe they live in an apartment, but they just struggle to put food on the table, or like in this Christmas season, put presents under the tree. You know, there's opportunity here where you don't have to bring money, you bring cash, you kind of bring yourself, able to exchange some time to get what you need, and maybe you can use, you know, what you have to pay the electric bill or to pay for something else.
The toy shop is open through December 17th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Well, our annual Toy Box campaign is underway, and each year we ask for donations of toys and money to buy toys to give to area kids in need. All of your donations can stay in the county you live in. You can find a list of toy drop-off locations on our website. That's at KOAMnewsnow.com. Or you can donate by phone during our Toy Box Tuesday telethons. The next one will be today on our noon, 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. news. Well, once you've given money or toys, we have to find a way to get them to the kids. And that's where our distribution partners come in. In northeastern Oklahoma, we get a little help from Toys for Tots, and they identify the families in their region who could really use the help. Families like the Rivas. Chantel Rivas told us about how your donations help make Christmas a little brighter for her kids.
I think last year the littles opened their gifts before they woke mom and dad up. That they were super excited, and it made it all that much better.
The Rivas family is just one family touched by your generosity. Through KOAM's Toy Box campaign, you'll hear about another such family during today's telethon. 6:07.
A big thank you for those of you who have participated in one of our past telethons, and a thank you in advance if you plan on helping us out today. Temperatures right now, well, if you want to go shopping today, I can't blame you for getting out and wanting to do something because it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Even with our cloud cover, we've already got 60 degrees in Joplin and Veneta, eventually high 60s, if not low 70s, even with the cloud cover. We do have high wind warnings for southeast Kansas. And remember, even with some afternoon and evening scattered rains, kind of skirt through this until we get to Wednesday night. That's when we got a legitimate band of thunderstorm activity that rolls through northwest to southeast. But even after that, 56 on Thursday and 60 on Friday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the House is expected to vote on whether Mark Meadows is in contempt of Congress, but Meadows is causing roadblocks that may prevent them from doing so. Plus, the latest on the Omicron variant, including the first death in the UK and the US's rising COVID numbers. And shipping deadlines are around the corner, and we have when you should send out your holiday packages. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, now is the time to get that holiday shopping done, and that's because many delivery deadlines are quickly approaching. Courtney Keeley explains.
It's the busiest time of year at the post office, as truckloads of packages are sorted and sent to their holiday destinations.
Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day, we're expecting 25 billion letters, cards, and packages to go through our system.
And people who want a gift delivered by Christmas need to act soon. For the majority of Americans, the deadline to ship ground with the U.S. Postal Service and FedEx is Wednesday, December 15th. The UPS cutoff depends on where you live. First-class mail, including greeting cards, must be sent through the post office by the 17th. After that, there are several pricier options for faster service leading up to Christmas. The last chance at the post office and UPS is next day service on December 23rd. FedEx has same-day service on the 24th. Shipping times for Amazon and other online retailers vary. Shoppers are often given an estimated delivery time.
An estimated shipping date or an estimated delivery date even is not a guarantee that your item's going to arrive on time.
Kristen McGrath from Retail Me Not says supply chain issues and weather can disrupt deliveries.
The longer you wait, the fewer options you're going to have.
She says for those who wait until the last minute, there is the option to email or text a gift.
You can get a gift card. You can get someone a subscription to a subscription service, whether that's music streaming or language learning. There's just so many options.
And experts say shoppers looking for a specific present online should buy now to make sure it arrives on time. Courtney Keeley, CBS News, New York.
Wall Street pulled back from its record highs on Monday. The Dow tumbled 320 points. The Nasdaq slid 217. The S&P 500 dropped 43. Investors will be watching for new inflation news over the next few days. November's producer price index is released this morning. It's expected to show prices ticked up slightly, and the Federal Reserve kicks off a two-day meeting today, with inflation and interest rates likely taking center stage. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been named Person of the Year by Time magazine. Time's editor-in-chief wrote that few individuals have had more influence than Musk on life on Earth and potentially life off Earth, too. Vaccine developers were named Heroes of the Year, Simone Biles, Athlete of the Year, and Olivia Rodrigo, Entertainer of the Year. Federal and state officials are looking into the collapse of an Amazon distribution center in Illinois during last week's tornado outbreak. At least 6 people were killed, and now the governor is looking into strengthening building codes. Meanwhile, OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is beginning its own investigation. Amazon says it believes the building was built to code. That's it for Consumer Watch. We'll be right back.
Rolling up on 617, great time for weather on the 7s. And speaking of the 7s, if we can get up to 71 degrees at Joplin Regional Airport, tie our December 14th record that dates back to 2008. Now, if we get to 73 in Chanute, then we'll tie a record dating back to the 1940s. They're already sitting at 60 degrees over 7th and Range Line. Now we've got a triumvirate of 60s. We've got Joplin, Veneta, Grove. No, we got 4 of them. Though Anderson in there. Now Neosho consistently has been our warmest spot, all the way up to 62. A little bit cooler up to the north right there. Iola at 47 and Nevada at 50. But still, that is hard to beat for the middle of December and pre-sunrise temperatures. As a matter of fact, anywhere from really about 11 to 18 degrees warmer than what we had on what was a delightful Monday. Wind tracker still going to be 10 to 15 miles per hour. In fact, we're going to gust up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour. And check out, this is all wind right here. It goes from the West Coast all the way to the Great Lakes. You've got some 50 million people that are either in the middle of a high wind watch, an advisory, or in our case, for that darker color right there, that's a high wind warning. And you'll notice it lasts all the way until 9 o'clock tomorrow. So the wind's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. The ridge of the jet stream has progressed just a little bit to the east right there, but we still stay underneath it, meaning warm temperatures for today and for tomorrow. An afternoon planner that'll put us up into the high 60s, low 70s. We'll see some 70s out there every now and then. And then overnight, we'll get some light scattered rain as the Gulf moisture moves in from the south right here. Mainly for the southern and eastern portions for Tuesday. We get a little bit more widespread there through Wednesday morning and the afternoon. But the big one comes here Wednesday evening. Good line of thunderstorm activity works from northwest down to southeast. That's going to be heavy rain. That's also going to be some lightning, and with that marginal category, an indicator that we'll get some wind gusts with it as well. We stay out of the low category, kind of isolate that through Iowa. Now, another thing to point out here, Wednesday, as this thing rolls through, watch it stall out here in northeastern Arkansas through the Boot Heel, up through Kentucky and Indiana. Of course, that's exactly where they're trying to recover from the tornadoes. So they're going to be in the midst of more thunderstorm activity. And then this thing almost comes back on itself. And so they're not going to get a break really until Friday. Now, as far as speaking of our Thursday and Friday, a little bit of a cool down, but those temperatures still above average for this time of year at 56 and 60. Time now to begin our Photos with Santa segment. I want to introduce you to Tristan Welch. Well, Tristan's 5 years old from Columbus, and this was sent in along with Sophie Welch, and she's 2 years old, and Gabriel Welch, he's 1, and all the Welches there from Columbus. That is great. So, hey, Welch family, I'm glad that you got to see the big man. They're the children of William and Tuesday Welch, and tell you what, when you get your hands on the kiddos with Santa and you get that photo, last chance to get your kid's photo with Santa, so let's get it featured on KOAM. Now, you got until Saturday, and December the 18th from 6 to 8 at the Christmas Shop in Pittsburgh. So once again, Saturday, December the 18th, 1608 West 4th Street in Pittsburgh is the Christmas Shop. We want to thank you for sponsoring our Photos with Santa segment. And great to see the Welch family able to enjoy that over the weekend. Today, the House of Representatives is expected to vote on whether to hold former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in contempt of Congress after dramatic revelations during last night's meeting of the House Select Committee of the January 6th attack. Brett Conway has more from committee members and Mark Meadows himself.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye. A unanimous vote from the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, recommending former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows be charged with contempt of Congress.
This vote relates principally to Mr. Meadows' refusal to testify about text messages and other communications.
Texts the committee says serve as evidence of former President Donald Trump's, quote, supreme dereliction of duty. Some of the texts that have been released were sent to Meadows the day of the attack. We are under siege here at the Capitol. The president needs to stop this ASAP. Mark, protesters are literally storming the Capitol, breaking windows on doors, rushing in. Is Trump going to say something? We are all helpless. There were also texts from Donald Trump Jr. He's got to condemn this ASAP. The Capitol Police tweet is not enough. Meadows responded, I'm pushing it hard. I agree. The texts were part of new information released by the committee that includes details about Meadows' actions before and during the January 6th attack, as well as his apparent role in attempts to overturn the 2020 election.
We cannot be satisfied with incomplete answers or half-truths. and we cannot surrender to President Trump's efforts to hide what happened.
Meadows calls the contempt recommendation disappointing, but not surprising.
This is about Donald Trump and about actually going after him once again.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Today's expected vote by the full House is the last step before sending the contempt referral to the Justice Department. Mark Meadows is suing the committee and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to block the committee's subpoenas. We'll be back with Healthwatch right after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, the U.S. has reached yet another grim milestone in the coronavirus pandemic when the total number of deaths hit 800,000. The development comes as New York enacts one of the toughest mask mandates in the country, and the UK confirms its first death from the Omicron variant. Naomi Ruckham reports from New York.
With the UK reporting its first known death from the Omicron variant, health officials in the U.S. are taking note.
They have a higher vaccination rate and a higher booster rate in the United Kingdom than we do here. And they're seeing Omicron going from very few cases to close to 40% of the cases in the country, literally in a matter of days.
While the fast-spreading strain has been detected in more than 24 states, it's the Delta variant that's driving up infections nationwide. The average number of COVID cases across the U.S. is up almost 40% from last week, with hospitalizations rising in at least 42 states.
Fully vaccinated is going to be those 3 shots. And I think it's critical that we really push that across the country. And as much as possible the next week, people get their booster shot.
With cases on the rise, masks must now be worn in all indoor public spaces across New York State, unless a business or venue has a COVID vaccine requirement. The mandate will be in effect until at least January 15th, and business owners who don't enforce it could face fines of up to $1,000.
It's going to keep us safe, it's going to keep us healthy.
I feel like it should be left up to the individual.
Beginning Tuesday in New York City, all children 5 to 11 years old must have proof of vaccination in restaurants, fitness centers, and entertainment venues.
If they want to enjoy all the great stuff happening around the holidays, they need to get that vaccine dose, and they can do it real quickly.
Despite warnings of a winter surge, a CBS News poll finds nearly 2/3 of Americans still plan to gather for Christmas. Only 1 in 5 Americans have canceled family get-togethers so far. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Health officials say more people are headed out to get a booster COVID shot. An average of more than 900,000 people a day got boosters last week, a record high for the U.S. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Got those high wind warnings, mainly for southeast Kansas, but it's going to be windy no matter where you are. Temperatures right now, we've already thrown up some 60s. Look at Joplin and Carthage, Bonita and Grove. Earlier, Neosho was actually sitting at 62. So we are well on our way into the upper 60s, if not low 70s, as we challenge some December 14th records today. Now, one thing we do need to pay attention to is scattered rainfall. It's not going to amount to anything, but I'd go ahead and take the umbrella, not only for today, but may come in handy tomorrow as well. You see it starts off there in the south and the east, before it kind of gets a little bit more widespread for Wednesday morning. Certainly nothing to write home about. Now we've got thunderstorms. They begin Wednesday night. Begin to the northwest, drop down to the southeast. Heavy rain, thunder, lightning, even the possibility of some high winds with that as well. It's a result of atmospheric river that's now on the west coast. That's right, that's going to bring us the unsettled weather here as we get to the latter half of the week. But after that, we're looking at still very mild temperatures for Thursday and Friday. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, Oklahoma authorities discover a burned body at the scene of a fire. In Miami, police are on the hunt for a suspect in a weekend shooting. Also, one local business loads up its food truck to deliver help to a tornado-damaged town in Kentucky.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip in the Skywatch Weather Center.
In a nutshell, warm, windy with light scattered rain for Tuesday and a chance to break some record highs. Current conditions over Joplin, 60 degrees is where we stand right now. You'll notice the humidity considerably higher than what we had yesterday, an indicator that that moisture from the Gulf is beginning to pick up just a little bit. But you can't complain the fact that we're talking about pre-sunrise temperatures ranging anywhere from 48 all the way to 60. 49 would be our average high for a normal afternoon on December the 14th. Once again, out of the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour, kicking in anywhere from 25 to 30 miles per hour. And you go to the west coast, all the way to the Great Lakes, you got 50 million people, 50 million Americans in the midst of either a wind advisory, a high wind watch, or, just like we are in that dark color, high wind warnings. As far as what we're looking at nationally speaking, okay, out here, left-hand portion of your screen, that's the old atmospheric river. And while it's going to dump a whole lot of rain and snow on the west coast, eventually this thing is going to jump over the Rockies, and that line's going to be right there for us by the time we get into Wednesday night. Now, before we get there, let's talk about high 60s, low 70s today, all the way just hanging out in the 60s overnight, hard to beat. That's why I was saying umbrella, yeah, just keep it handy with you. You're not going to walk around with it all day long. But now, that atmospheric river, here we go, Wednesday night. There's our thunderstorm, begins about 7 o'clock in our far northeastern section. Drops from northwest to southeast. Look at that red in there. That's going to be some heavy rain at times. Should kick out of here by the time we get to the Thursday morning commute. But we do show up on the severe thunderstorm risk map in that marginal category, meaning high wind along with the heavy rain going to be our biggest threat. Not much of a cool down. I mean, 56 on Thursday and 60 on Friday. That's hard to beat. Chillier over the weekend, that's for sure. But at some point in time, we got to get back to December temps.
Yeah. We definitely need to. No, we don't.
Even that's
definitely
not,
don't need to.
Even the 44, 50, and 50 on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that's not even going to come close to averaging us out with as warm as the first 13 days have been.
How many times have we had lows that were actually below freezing this month?
Okay, below freezing, I'll have to look that one up. Interestingly enough, I thought you were going to say how many times have we had the record low high. Where, right. We've only done that once this month.
Low high.
Yeah. Despite the fact that by the time we get to Wednesday, we may have 3 new December daily highs in the first 15 days of the month.
That's crazy. But yeah, like our nights have not been like ridiculously cold. So I mean,
I thought last night was incredible, especially when the wind decided to die down a little bit. Mm-hmm. It was great. A nice light jacket. Had to wait in the driveway for a child to show up. She drives, folks. It sounds terrible.
Sounds like we have a story.
Dad standing in the driveway going, okay, come on, baby. But no, it was very comfortable outside.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the OSBI is investigating a burned body found at the scene of a fire. The fire happened in Delaware County on December 9th. Firefighters from Jay responded to a call about a brush fire near 609 Road around 11 p.m. The firefighters found the body of a man and immediately called the sheriff, who brought in the OSBI. Well, yesterday, officials announced they've identified the body, but they are not yet releasing his name. Police in Miami, Oklahoma are looking for a suspect in a weekend shooting who say they fled on a bicycle. That suspect is Daniel Jasicek. Police responded to a call at a home on H Southeast Street a little after 1 on Sunday afternoon, where they found Kenneth Crane with a gunshot wound to his leg. A crew took Crane to a Joplin hospital. Investigators say the suspect got away on a red and pink BMX-style bike, and at last report, he was still at large. The tornado devastation in Mayfield, Kentucky is all too familiar for most Joplin residents. That's why one business is stepping up to help.
Looking at the devastation in Mayfield, Kentucky is hitting close to home for those in Joplin. That's why Jeff Carney, the owner of Bacon Me Crazy, decided to load up and hit the road for Mayfield.
We've got enough stock at the moment. I mean, I think we should be able to feed a couple thousand people, serve them lunch and dinner, and for all 3 days we're out there, and help them out. We've got some Indigo Sky gave us some gift cards. Some other people have dropped off some gift cards so that we can pass those out to the people and they can go Walmart or wherever and get the essentials they need until they get on their feet and get insurance money and stuff. And that's going to help out a lot.
They put out a call on social media for people to bring in donations that they can take with them, and the community has responded.
People's dropped off toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorants. We had one little girl, I wish I was here. Her mom and dad bought her a brand new pair of Converse, and instead of keeping them, she brought them here to give us, for us to take up there and give them away.
Additionally, there's a GoFundMe page collecting money as well.
The GoFundMe page is to help us with the cost of going up there, with employees and fuel, propane and stuff like that, but also when we get there so we can sponsor a couple families.
Carney was in Joplin during the tornado and says this community, which received so much love and support from the world, should step up for our neighbors to the east.
I think that Joplin should remember exactly what we went through for months and months here. I mean, and people were driving around our neighborhoods passing out meals and stuff, and it helped out because like we were sitting there with no electricity, we had no way to eat, and then next thing you know they were rolling up down the road giving us food. So I think Joplin, if any place, we need to step up and pay it back.
In Warner, KOAM News.
Well, Carney says the GoFundMe will be active during their 3 days in Mayfield, and we have a link to that in this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. 100 years ago, thousands of women marched on area coal mines in support of striking miners who faced hazardous working conditions, poor pay, and discrimination. That event was called the March of the Amazon Army. And yesterday, the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas honored the marchers by welcoming in the descendants of those women to speak about their impact on history.
Lots of pride. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of pride for them to be part of something like this and to make change, because a lot of change began to slowly happen after that. So yeah, it's very cool.
My grandmother was one of the few women who'd gotten arrested for participating. So that added another layer to the whole thing that in a lot of ways makes you feel proud that she was so active and energetic about all of this.
On Monday, the museum was also turned into a postal station with special postmarks commemorating the march. It also has an exhibit on the march running through December. I have to check that out. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The federal government vows to help those affected by the tornadoes that happened Friday of last week as they try to figure out where to go from here. Plus, with people finding possessions on the sides of roads due to weather-related events or other ways, people can accidentally lose their beloved possessions. What would you do if you found someone else's things? We let you weigh in. But first, it's 6:37.
A whole bunch of mid-50s already, and haven't even had sunrise yet. Make it up into the low 70s here later on. Some scattered showers, and that doesn't amount to anything, certainly nothing like the thunderstorms that we'll have late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Enjoy 2 back-to-back days in the 70s. Back with Nation Watch next.
Access
Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Biden says he will do whatever it takes to help the people impacted by this weekend's deadly tornadoes. Skylar Henry is at the White House with those details and the questions the Biden administration is asking about whether these storms were triggered by climate change.
This is Mayfield, Kentucky. I mean, it's just devastating.
President Biden held a briefing with his emergency response coordinators and says he'll travel to Kentucky to see for himself the damage from this weekend's deadly tornadoes.
So many of the people are facing immense loss. And we talked about how we can accelerate and expand federal assistance to those in desperate need.
The president has already approved an emergency declaration and a major disaster declaration, which, among other things, allows the federal government to send in search and rescue teams, provides federal dollars for local government responses, and helps with housing for those people who have been displaced by the storms.
This administration has made it clear to every governor, whatever they need, when they need it. When they need it, make it known to me, and we'll get it to them as rapidly as we can.
Tornadoes of this size and severity are incredibly rare in December, and President Biden has asked the Environmental Protection Agency to determine whether these twisters are a result of climate change.
There's a lot of things that we don't know for certain, and I don't want to say anything that is not precisely true.
The Biden administration says climate change is impacting the weather, even if this tornado isn't tied to climate change.
Because of the change in climate, because of the threat the climate crisis poses, that we have seen more extreme weather events.
Scientists say it's easier to tie extreme weather events such as wildfires and flooding to climate change than tornadoes. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Harold Brooks, a tornado scientist at the National Severe Storms Laboratory, told the Associated Press that while tornadoes are fueled by warm weather, less than 10% of severe thunderstorms produce tornadoes, making it hard to draw conclusions about how they are impacted by climate change. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, Brandon Deathridge is his name, and he almost did not stop when he saw a box on the shoulder of a freeway, but he's thankful he did because that's what he found right there. Photos, family photos. One, a man in a Navy uniform that dates back to the 40s, some photographs from the 60s, baby pictures. There's even a last name, Altman, A-L-T-M-A-N. Now, memories filled that box, but Brandon still can't figure out who they belong to. Our question for you is, what would you do if you found that box on the side of the road and you found out they had someone's photos in them? 91% of you said you would try to find that person and return them. 3% of them, or 3% say leave it be in case somebody comes back to get them. 3% also say keep them. And 3% of you say you just dispose of the box. You can log on 2 ways each and every morning. Number one, you can connect to us via our Facebook page, or if you'd like to go straight to the poll, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Dan Barger, who served in the U.S. Army from 1951 to 1952. Native of Joplin, Barger spent time in Korea and earned several awards. We are proud to thank Sergeant Major Dan Barger, today's four-state hero.
Our birthday list begins with the Parrish triplets. It's Catherine, Tristan, and Sebastian, all decked out in their Chiefs paraphernalia. They are celebrating their 6th birthday, and the grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa, well, they just happen to live in Crestline. So a very happy birthday to Catherine, Tristan, and Sebastian. I'm sure that is one busy family birthday party.
That's right.
We've also got Michaela Walden, who is celebrating her 11th birthday. Miss Michaela, a very happy birthday to you. She's in Miami and happens to be a 5th grader at Alexander Elementary. That's in Commerce. And Michaela, I want you to know these happy birthday wishes are from Mom, Nana, Pops, and Meemaw.
All right. In Carthage, also turning 11 this year, Cameron Lansdowne. Happy birthday. Nice picture there of Cameron.
I like that number 11 because that is exactly where we have for Kinsley Harris. She celebrates her birthday as well. Wonderful picture there, Miss Kinsley. She is in Hepler.
All right. In Girard, Kansas, JC Geyers turning 12 years old this year. Happy birthday, JC. She's a 6th grader at Girard Middle School, it says. And she's got love coming from Nana today.
In Arma, Drew Lovell celebrating his 26th birthday. Drew, a very happy birthday to you.
All right, Jason Wertzler celebrating birthday number 35 this year. Jason is in Galesburg, Kansas. Happy birthday.
Good old Matt C celebrating his 43rd. Oh, why does that not surprise me? Look at that. Out on the water, got the fishing pole. Matt, a very happy birthday in Pittsburgh.
Right, Arona Bogner celebrating birthday number 64 in Parsons. This picture, if you notice what's in the background there, she was getting ready to hop on the Royal Gorge train.
Too cool.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Arnona. Steve Hensley, he is celebrating his 64th birthday. A little Webb City Cardinal pride. Steve, I hope as an early birthday present that you enjoyed the state championship. It looks like he's got a future Cardinal state champ standing right beside him as well. Steve, he's rocking the Webb City gear there. He lives in Jasper. But when you got a little one, when you got a little one getting ready to play for Coach Rod, deck it out in the Cardinal gear.
There you go. All right, we've got the former Barton County Sheriff who served proudly for 16 years, Bill Griffith. All right, there. Man's best
I
friend.
like that
Bill is in Lamar.
That's good.
Turning 69 years old. Hope you have a great birthday.
Raymond Joe Hutto is celebrating number 86. Raymond Joe, a very happy birthday to you in Columbus. And Scott Goodion, 33. Happy birthday to Scott in Afton. A happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this December the 14th. That's where you can send them into birthdays at KOAMTV.com, or if you prefer to go to the email route, birthdays at KOAMNewsNow.com. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. Once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
For those of you celebrating birthdays and anniversaries on this December the 14th, you may be in the midst of a record-breaking day. 60 degrees is where we stand right now over 7th and Rangeline. We've got a couple 60s already sticking out pre-sunrise. If we get to 71 is the magic temperature at Joplin Regional Airport. We'll tie the record from 2008, get 72, we break it. And look at this, compared to what was really a nice Monday start as well, our temperature is anywhere from about 10 to 18 degrees warmer. Now, the reason it is warmer, even with the cloud cover, is because the wind has not died down one bit. As a matter of fact, if you go from the West Coast all the way up to the Great Lakes, you've got some 50 million Americans in the midst of either high wind watches, advisories, or what we see right here in our darker color. Those are high wind warnings. And you'll notice too, look at the expiration time. It doesn't expire until tomorrow night. So we know it's going to be windy for today all the way through the nighttime hours. Here's the old atmospheric river coming off the Pacific. Whole lot of rain. It could get anywhere. It could get about 10 to 12 inches of rain there in San Francisco. But eventually, this system is going to fall down to the south and jump over the Rockies and going to present us with our own thunderstorm activity here Wednesday night. But until we get there, a great looking Tuesday. Scattered rain for this afternoon and evening, mainly for the south and just off to the east. Not going to amount to anything, very light rain. So here we go, Wednesday night. That's when it begins to form up here. That's that line. So that's some heavy rain that we've got right there, thunder and lightning. And as it drops down to the southeast, we can also anticipate some high wind with it as well. You'd think we'd get like a massive cool off and get back to a little taste of December. That really doesn't happen though until the weekend. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Chevy. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. T-Mobile made a big donation to a couple of area towns. Over the weekend, the company donated a $50,000 hometown grant to Yates Center, Kansas. On Monday, they made that same donation to Pineville, Missouri. Yates Center plans to use the money to renovate a community center to use as a business incubator. Pineville will use its funding to make an entrepreneurial program for high school students. Some Neosho Middle School students are taking action to keep their school clean. Students created the Recycle Rangers program 3 years ago. The program used a grant to purchase recycling bins to put in classrooms and hallways. Then the Rangers go around the school, collect the bins, sort the recycling, and take it to a recycle center. 100 years ago, thousands of women marched on area coal mines in support of striking miners who faced hazardous working conditions, poor pay, and discrimination. That event was called the March of the Amazon Army. Yesterday, the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas honored the marchers by welcoming in the descendants of those women to speak about their impact on history. Well, some kids want a new bicycle for Christmas. No problem. Some Pitt State students are making sure that happens. Enactus, a student organization in the Kels College of Business, raised enough money to buy 42 bikes for kids, ranging in age from 3 to 18. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Let's talk some weather and then let's talk more Christmas toys. Our weather trend for today, even with mostly cloudy skies, will throw us up into the high 60s, low 70s. The light scattered rain that we'll see really won't amount to much for today. It's a little bit more widespread there for tomorrow. But remember, tomorrow night, that's when the thunderstorms roll through. Not much of a drop down. It looks like much of a drop down, but you have to remember, we should only be in the high 40s this time of year. So even after the thunderstorms, Thursday and Friday, 56 and 60, break some records next 2 days and really enjoy mild temperatures for the latter half of the week.
That's right. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Grandma Belle's onion tarts in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Yes, or you could switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we talk about the latest movies coming to your home.
And going to meet an Amazon driver who helps decorate for the holidays. Speaking of decorations, we're fortunate enough to be surrounded by all these wonderful toys that all of you have made possible as part of our Toy Box Tuesday telethons. And as a matter of fact, we have our final one coming up this afternoon on the KOAM News at Noon.
And then it'll be time to load up all these toys and get them to all the good boys and girls just in time for Christmas.
And so remember, there is one more opportunity to be a part of our toy box right there. 417-624-0233, 620-231-0400. And remember, we do the shopping for you. We'll take a load off of your plate. You won't have to worry about it. And thank you to all of you who have made all of this possible.
Yes.
You parents out there, you'll appreciate this. They're 2, they're 4, they're 6, they're 8, shunting trucks and hauling freight. Still remember the Thomas theme song. Wraps it up for this Tuesday edition. Enjoy a wonderful day. Do me a favor. Be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.